What's up, guys? It's NottheWinner here, and we're actually going to be reacting to Toyhouse's video on how Diablo 4 is reinventing character classes. Now, I would love to speak about this on my own merit, but the issue is I can't play the game yet. He got to play it a couple months back as like a test thing, so he was able to get all sorts of great footage for us and also be able to explain how these classes are going to work and some additional features that each of these classes are going to have. So this is going to be very, very exciting to watch. All credit, once again, is going to Toyhouze here, and I'll make sure I link his channel in the description for the video.
We're going to discuss the classes of Diablo 4 and how the new class-specific designs are breaking new ground while drawing on the design from past games. After playing around with some of these new class mechanics, I can say confidently that Diablo 4 is gearing up to be one of the greatest games of our lifetimes.
Oh,
now,
yeah,
Diablo has always had a history of being innovative.
I'm so
Diablo
excited.
1 was
and
one
I
of
like
the
how
first video games to establish the common
I'll
video
let
game
some stuff
character
go.
archetypes of warrior, sorcerer, and rogue, each class's abilities offsetting the other's weaknesses.
So now he's
Many
just
games
doing
and
a little
films
intro
still use this
complimenting.
archetypal trio today.
Let's
Diablo
go.
4, and one feature I'm most looking forward to is how each class has multiple unique class mechanics. For example, the Druid will be the only class that can loot spirit charms, which are items that can be presented as offerings that you can give to one of the 4 great animal spirits. We know that.
So that sounds pretty interesting to me, guys. First of all, spirit charms that you can give to special spirit animals in this game, right? That are going to give you a special boon. They're going to give you a buff depending on which one you give it to, and depending what build you go for, what boon you want is going to be different.
The 3 of them are the snake, eagle, and wolf, and depending on which spirit you choose, it will empower you in a different way. Each spirit has a number of different boons to choose from, but you can only select one, and not all spirits will be available initially and need to be unlocked one by one. But once all are unlocked, you can choose
And
freely.
I believe you won't
from
be able to
among
do
the
any
4
of this
spirits,
during
selecting
the
one
early
boon from each spirit
access,
and one extra boon from a spirit of your choice
because it's
once they're
outside of
all
that zone.
unlocked. Now, depending on your playstyle, the best animal spirit to align with will change, and these animal spirits are located in Skazglen, which is the druid-like zone and outside of the scope of the Diablo 4 beta, taking place exclusively in Fractured Peaks. So you won't be able to experience this during the beta, and we'll have to wait until the game launch for it. And if you're enjoying this video so far, make Lilith happy and like and subscribe. Now, this mechanic reminds me of how World of Warcraft really nailed it on class identity, giving class-specific quests such as earning and
We'll skip ahead a bit.
we also saw something similar with Final Fantasy XIV, with each class having its 4, which is something that has never been done before, and I believe has the potential to redefine the ARP genre for decades to come.
Basically saying we're taking MMO features from other games into Diablo. And Diablo has, in a sense, always had some level of MMO to it because
of their total health. Of course, this can be extremely powerful, and it appears that
it's
this
still an open world that you can go
bosses
into.
and other players. And another mechanic that isn't just for druids but also barbarians is Fortify. This causes them to take 30% decreased damage until the amount of fortified life is removed or it wears off. Now,
I think Fortify will be cool, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as powerful as what everyone else thinks.
Some of the tankiest classes in the game because no other class has access to it, which really adds to the class fantasy of being a melee bruiser. I actually don't like how it has a maximum amount of damage it can reduce, though. For example, a skilled player would use Fortify anticipating taking a lot of damage, but if Fortify will only reduce a set amount of damage, then you really aren't able to stretch the value of the ability
it's just
by
going to
using
be
it
something
at
that
the
you're
perfect
constantly
time.
turning
However,
on
this
just to
might
make
mean
sure you
players
have
are more
hit
likely to
points
just
and you're
spam the
taking less.
ability to always keep it on cooldown and getting the most out of it instead, which may be more
so
engaging than just saving a cooldown like you might do in another game. Now, since we already started talking about Barbarian already with Fortify, we know that the Barbarian only class mechanic is the Arsenal system, which allows him to hold up to 2 extra weapons automatically using the best weapon for the ability of your choice. Now, along with the
So that's huge, guys. First of all, you got your 2 weapons that you're already getting equipped, and then you got 2 secondary weapons. So if you're using a skill that prefers axes and you primarily use hammers, it will pull out the axe to do the ability, put it away, and pull your hammer back out. That's so cool.
Arsenal system, there is expertise, which grants bonuses based on your expertise with each weapon type.
Yeah,
there's
there's
also what's called a technique choice within the Arsenal system, but it was not usable in the latest build of the game. Now, looking at these 2 class-specific mechanics, we can see a theme: player choice. In both cases, the class mechanic allowed for extra customizability. The Druid spirit animal, and within it, a number of boons to choose from, and with the Barbarian Arsenal, the choice of extra weapons, improving expertise for those weapons, and then selecting impacting your technique. This appears to be a deliberate design by the Diablo 4 team that I like, because if I'm playing with a friend and we're both druids, we can play very differently based on the spirit animals we
Yeah,
selected,
because he could go
the boons
heavily
within them,
elemental,
and of
and I
course
could
a
go
ton
heavily,
of other
shape
customization
shifting.
that ultimately leads us to play differently, look for different items, and so on. And what I like about this is that Rod Ferguson, general manager of Diablo, has stated in an interview that early on you can easily change your skills and customization choices, but there becomes a point, which he chose level 50 arbitrarily, where it's no longer easy to change your choices, and you're better off just
basically make sure your skill
tree
is exactly where you want it before you hit level 50.
The Diablo 2 skill tree. It's not easy to reset, and you can only do it 3 times for each time you cleared the Den of Evil. Of course, later on you can get more chances to reset, but it's not easy to reset your skill tree. And I actually like this a lot. If you can reset your specializations and choices, then it makes them much less meaningful, and you put a lot less thought into them. But if it's difficult to reset skill points and other class-specific mechanics, players will be much more careful and thoughtful.
But it does suck starting a brand new
builds,
character if you don't have enough time to play. So that's my only concern. There are players who don't have as much time to play as others and don't
honestly
want to
just
make
made
a
me
new
respect
character.
the game so much more as being challenging. Now, if you look at the Book of the Dead, for example, the Necromancer's class mechanic, it allows for a number of different play styles. If you want to command legions of skeletons, you can.
So
or if you
customizable.
like the Dark Spellcaster theme,
The actual
summons, you can also customize your
oh,
build
that's
like
so
that.
cool.
Now, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Death Knight in Wrath of the Lich King. You can get a permanent ghoul.
Like really getting to choose your exact typings for everything, what kind of guys you want. If you want defensive guys instead of offensive.
Or the biggest possible summon army possible, or the opposite, no summons at all.
That's
there was
cool.
even a lot of
before you just summoned skeletons
for example, you could choose
and a
skeletons
golem
that are
and hope that they didn't die, and now you
health
can like
and
really
armor,
set them
but deal
up.
more damage. Or you could choose the tank skeletons, which actually have shields and
or even no
damage.
summons.
So there's even more
There's like a setup for no
after you make
summons
your
with
initial
Necros
choice
as well.
of summons or no summons. Now, I would say the first part of this isn't anything new. Necromancers could already choose to not be a summoner, but customizing your summons is a cool new feature that I'm actually glad they added. Now, Sorcerer gets the enchantment system. This allows access to 3 extra skill slots called the enchantment slots. A spell placed into an enchantment slot becomes a passive skill. For example,
did you guys just hear that? Spells placed in these 3 slots are passive skills. Passive. So they go off just at periodic times. Just throw a meteor in there, you know, no big deal.
A meteor will just periodically be cast on a random enemy nearby, or if you place ball lightning into an enchantment slot, it causes all crackling energy to instead become ball lightning, which sounds really powerful. This is an interesting take on a class-specific system because it allows you to effectively use 3 more abilities than other players,
and it
even if it's
customizes
just
your
a
spell
passive
set
effect.
in a totally
Rogues are
new
unique
way.
in that they can alternate between ranged weapons and melee weapons, freely using either type of skill, and their character will automatically start using the appropriate weapon. This already sounds like a fun mechanic to play with, and I can't wait to try it out. But that's not all. Rogues also need to choose to align themselves with one of 3 rogue guilds: Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye, the Mercenaries of Kyrgyzstan, or the Outlaw Smugglers of Hawazar. The aligning process involves a quest chain unique to each of the 3 factions, and each rogue guild provides its own
so much customization, like so much value to picking a certain character class now instead of just my moves are this and I go
unlock all of them and then ultimately decide which one to stay with. Rogues are also the only class which can modify the damage type of their weapons to either cold, poison, or shadow. For example, rogues can lace their weapons with cursed oil, which causes them to deal shadow damage, or frost oils, which apply chill, leading up to a full freeze over time. This is a very strong additional class mechanic just for rogues. All right, moving on from each class's specific mechanic and system, each class also has access to different types of damage specific to their class. Now, for example, barbarians only deal physical damage, while a class like druid has access to physical, lightning, and poison. Now, this is very meaningful back in Diablo 2 because monsters could have immunes and take extremely reduced damage to a type of damage. I'm hoping to see this return in Diablo 4, encouraging players to go a build with a diverse range of damage types, and it also means that certain classes...
Now, hang on. Did he really just say that he hopes immunities return? Immunities are one of the most hated things in Diablo 2, but they make the most sense because if they didn't have immunities, then we just steamroll everything and be able to get all the gear we need immediately. The immunities caused us to have to try split builds, or actually sometimes even re-roll your entire build because you're like, crap, like this guy's immune to all of my abilities. That especially happened with sorceresses who were maybe like fire and ice, and they run into people who are immune to fire and cold, and then it's just like, okay, I can hit you with a 20 damage static and never kill you. So yeah, that's kind of where immunities got a little bit convoluted when you have dual immunities of typings like that. It basically made an entire character obsolete in fights. Um, Definitely, if they balance it well, I'm fine with immunities being back. I think that makes the game more challenging, more exciting, and actually, well, worth the challenge rather than just steamrolling everything. But I'm not so gung ho as he was about
Can
that.
farm certain areas better than others, depending on what monsters are immune to there. I think this really adds a lot of depth to the game, and I really can't wait to see if they end up implementing it. From what we know, and I'm sure there's a lot we still don't know, Diablo 4's classes are looking fun, unique, and compelling enough that you'd want to play all of them at least once. There's a lot of systems and mechanics that have never been done before coming to Diablo 4,
Yeah, I'm
and
not huge
some
on the
that are
barbarian
definitely coming
still,
from
even with the extra gear
MMORPGs. But
slots. I
personally, I
just
can't
don't see
wait to give it a
myself
try.
loving that character just based on my time as barbarian and paladin back in Diablo 2. But this is so exciting, guys. And if you guys do want to check out this video, it's over on Toyhouse's channel. I'll either link the video or his channel in my description for this. And obviously you can see it right here, and I've shouted it out numerous times. Very, very cool video. Really appreciate people who have gotten access to the game, who have been able to provide this content for us and really show us what to expect. And if you guys are really, really excited for the early release and early access, then please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be bringing all sorts of Diablo 4 content, and I hope to see you guys in the game. Peace.